Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
AdvBlueDude.
Welcome to 21st Century Music,
It's beautiful.
the show where we go over our very eclectic tastes of music and whatnot. Yeah, I still haven't really figured out the slogan to this show. My apologies.
Strumming an untuned guitar and just going with that.
Oh, thank you. I actually spent 15 minutes trying to tune this damn thing,
Oh.
so I'm glad that it sounds like completely untuned.
No, it does sound tuned, actually. I think it's just because you're kind of, yeah. You probably had your finger on a thread. Yeah, it sounds okay.
Okay, so, AdvBlueDude, what album are we talking about?
We are talking about Wax Fang's The Astronaut. Hey, you playing me off? Should I just walk off? Goodbye.
Alright, no. In all seriousness, we're talking about the Hazards of Love.
Hazards of Love by the Decemberists.
Yes, so AdvBlueDude, this is your first taste of the Decemberists. What do you think?
It's it's actually really interesting.
Yeah, it is, of course, a rock opera. I find it very much inspired by the likes of something like The Who, something like The Wall. And also, very much kind of like, I take this to almost sort of be like a real, like, okay, you know how we're in a trend now of like, hey, let's take the Disney shit and make it darker. Well, that's exactly what the Hazards of Love did. They took a lot of Disney tropes, which I feel are in this album, and they just basically made it metal, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, AdvBlueDude, I want to point out, like, most of the Decemberists' other work, if this is, like, the only stuff you've ever heard from them, is really, like, not like this. In fact, the Decemberists very much have this sort of sea shanty sort of vibe going on with their earlier albums. A lot of a lot of nautical theming. Very much something that would fit in with something like Flapjack or something like that. Kind of Victorian era sort of sound. So this is really the first album where they kind of got really heavy and almost a little bit metal in some spots.
Yeah.
In some areas. Oh, excuse me. But, so yes, this is, in fact, like I said, a concept album. It's got a very dramatic, kind of tragic ending, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But, I don't know. What's your first impression of the story?
It's definitely fairy tale-ish.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I remember the first time I listened to this album, the only thing I could think of was like how vast the forest seemed to be. Just how, just the way they painted and describe it. It's essentially, I get that the landscape of this album, it's like there's this. I am not being able to talk tonight. That is unfortunate.
You're doing great. It's okay.
Oh, I'm not doing great. Do not flatter me. Do not say lies.
Doing god awful. You're doing. It's horrible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. God awful.
Okay, so we have the big forest. It's called it's Tigre, and it's pronounced Tigra or something. It's very close to the word tiger, but it's not tiger. It's tiger. I don't know. But that is the big forest, and then we have the Annan water, which is, and this is all based on a real European village, I believe. Like, Annan water is a real physical place. And so there's a lot of, I don't know, but you want to just get right into the album, kind of go track by track?
Sure.
Alright, so what did you think of the intro?
It starts out not at all. Just like a minute of nothing. I don't. Is that in everything, or is that just in the one that I listened to?
It basically starts out like, yeah, it's kind of is like a minute of nothing, and then it kind of like slowly builds, and it's like duh, duh, and then it's kind of like an organ comes on, I think, and honestly, not one of my favorite intros for an album, especially for a rock opera. I think it would have served it just maybe perhaps a little bit better if we would have just started the album with perhaps Hazards of Love Part 1 instead. I don't know, because I just don't think the theme of the intro really comes back into play in the album all that much, whereas with the Hazards of Love theme, obviously is like a big prominent part of the whole album. So
yeah.
I don't know, just a small, minor little nitpick for me. But now we get into the meat of the album, which is the Hazards of Love Part 1, and I'm going to be reading from a blog on fisttube.com.
FirstTube. FirstTube. Okay. I think FistTube's a porn site.
Christ. Yeah. Oh, God. Wow.
It probably actually is not, but...
I very much hope not. Okay, so FirstTube.com, The Decemberists, The Hazards of Love, an Interpretation. So, starting with Part 1, The Hazards of Love, Part 1, The prettiest whistles won't wrestle the thistles undone. That's a mouthful. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yes.
But, this song sets up the entire story. We learn right away that a young lady, who we will later love as our heroine Margaret, goes horse riding out past the fields, far from home. She crosses into the forest, as she often does, and comes upon a young deer at the edge of the forest, injured and limping. But despite the rapidly approaching dusk, white and green and gray, being a woman, the fairer caring ginger, she dismounts and tries to help the fawn. Before she can assist, she feels a sharp shake of the ground, and the fawn shifts shape into a man. She glances upon the man and falls immediately in love with him, and he with her. They have sex right there in the forest, upon the forest floor. Flowers and leaf beds of thistles providing yielding padding. Later, back in the grounds of the village, the ladies relax and chit-chat, worry-free and without care, except one, our Margaret, who is otherwise distracted and thinking of her William and their marvelous adventures encountered in the forest. All right, so what do you make of this little intro, Adventure Blue Dude?
Sex right off the bat.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They meet and just...
All right, let's go.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, man.
At least he turned human first.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, like it took me a few listens to really get into the whole grip of the story. Like, I actually wasn't a big fan of this album for the first year or two that I was listening to it. To tell you the truth, it's one that kind of grew on me. I'm saying that like just sort of comparing it to the rest of the Decemberists discography. Yeah. So I'm sure you probably don't have that same sort of bias, whereas like I was just sort of more used to the sea shanty type stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But now I think it's definitely my personal favorite Decemberists album. It's definitely the one that's like the most complete. I want them to do more rock operas like this because holy shit, they are damn good at it. I really like the idea of the fawn turning into the man, and you really get a lot more sense of it throughout the story. It's really handled well. At first I was really confused, and I thought that the whole time she was in love with a fawn, as in like a Mr. Tumnus fawn.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought at first, but yeah, but like I said, it took me a few listens to fully grasp this thing. But moving on, do you think that the transition into a Bauer song is very Pink Floyd-esque?
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah.
Because it's basically just like a British man shouting.
Yeah.
Just nonsensically, it's just like yeah, or something like that. I don't even know what he's shouting, but he sounds very angry. And it sounds very much like, if you can't eat your pudding, then you don't eat your meat, or something like that.
From the wall.
What's the phrase? I don't even know.
What? You can't have any pudding if you don't eat any meat.
You can't have any pudding.
if you don't eat your meat. How can you
Alright,
have any
thank
pudding if you don't eat your meat?
Alright, but yeah, about our song, this is definitely a song that grew on me. Like, at first I kind of looked at it more as just kind of like a transitional song. That's what it is, but I don't know. It lays a lot of the groundwork for the story. But anyways, Margaret's sister, or perhaps another maiden, or a nun. I like to think of it as the sister myself, but approaches and says to our heroine, "Don't cry, Margaret. I know you're pregnant, but when are you going to give birth? And by the way, which one of the jerks around town is your baby daddy?" I had some trouble with the line, "When without trouble the water in the cistern," but I've decided that troubling the water must mean draining it or reducing it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so basically it's implying a birth. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of debate about the line. That doesn't really matter. Truth be told, it's irrelevant, as it all basically hints to the same thing. Her peers suspect she's pregnant. The specifics of the line are genuinely unimportant to the storyline. As Margaret's baby bump begins to show, rather than stay with the maidens and be exposed, she packs her things and heads back to the forest to find her William. So yeah, like I said, just a very Pink Floyd-esque kind of feel to the song. Anything else to say about it? It kind of just nice, short, kind of expositional sort of song.
Yeah.
Rocking guitar. Okay, so now we get to "Won't Want for Love," which is one of the songs that I definitely am interested to hear your opinion of. But first, I'll read the little description. Our Margaret makes her way back to the forest in search of William, baking the forest as she goes to create a path to lead her to William and alert him that she seeks him. As she grows tired, she makes a bed in the forest, just as she and William shared a leafy bed in moons past. Meanwhile, not so far away, William calls to Margaret. He pains to be with her. Okay, so Adventure Blue Dude, I've been hyping up this song for, I don't know, perhaps over a year to you, where it's like, oh my god, this is like literally like a prog rock version of a Disney Princess I Want song. So tell me, did it live up to my hype?
I suppose it is, yeah.
I mean, I love it. This is my favorite song of the album, probably, or at least one of them. It was definitely my favorite for a long time until some of the others grew on me. But, I'm sorry, what else were you going to say?
Nothing really, like, it's really interesting. Like, it really is an I Want song, and it's very prog rock as well. Also, yeah. I don't really add much to what you've said, but yes, like, it's a really interesting song. I always say that about everything, but god damn it, it's true about everything.
Another interesting thing to note about this album is the main female vocalist of the Decemberists is kind of like put in the background of this album. She still plays her instruments, but she's kind of neglected to sort of like backup female vocals, and they got, I'm sorry, I don't have any of the names in front of me, and I probably should have, but they got another female vocalist to do the voice of Margaret, and I think it's really interesting that they got guest voices. It's kind of Arion-esque, and you and me were kind of discussing Arion before we went on air. You haven't heard them, but oh my god, they're amazing. Me too. But I don't know, I just really love the idea of just casting these different people for these different roles. And so yeah, like the voice of Margaret, like she really kind of transcends her at this album. I'll have a lot more to say about her performance as it goes on, especially towards the end. But I guess we'll move on, unless you have anything.
No, I really don't have anything else.
Alright, so the Hazards of Love 2. Wager all. Yes. William finds Margaret, and they declare their love for one another. William tenderly confesses that he feels more for her than just a need for sex. Well, that's a relief. Rather, he loves her. He lays her down in soft clovers and makes love to her beneath the sky. In post-cocktail bliss, he tells her that he wishes that they could lay together all night, naked until the morning birds sing. We'll later learn that he explains his predicament. His mother, the queen of the forest, she who rescued him from a clay cradle in the rough rivers, has cast a spell upon him. He will live in the remainder of his days as a fawn by day, a man only by night, but he will risk everything for Margaret. He will face his mother in due time. Uh-huh. All right, so this is very much kind of an over-the-top, sort of swaltzy love song, but I think it totally works. You know what I mean? Like, in the context of everything, it's very much just like kind of Broadway style. Like, we are just singing to the heavens and declaring our love for each other. God damn it! Did you like this one?
Yeah. I mean, like, I really liked all the songs, surprisingly, on this album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it does kind of flow together as one.
Yeah, it
piece.
does, and I think that's why there aren't really any songs that are different from the others.
There's a couple.
I mean, mainly
we'll get to the Rake song when we get to it.
I mean, mainly in the sense where it's not like, well, this is entirely different. Why is this in this album? This does not fit.
Well, yeah, I mean, in a concept album or in a rock opera, I think generally, like, that's kind of the idea.
I mean, what I'm saying is, like, I was surprised that, like, they're all, they're different songs, but they're not, because they flow together so wonderfully in ways that other, like, even rock operas don't flow like this. Or other rock operas.
You haven't listened to something like Tommy, but Tommy's a good example of something like, it's overly hyped, and I think over time people are kind of like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Tommy is a great album, definitely one of the early predecessors of a rock opera. Not the first rock opera, that's a very common misconception. But Tommy has a lot of flaws, because there's definitely certain songs on that album where it's like, okay, yeah, this is Tommy, and this is what he's doing, and yeah, now we go to the next song. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, that was just a piece of blatant exposition that you didn't really try to cover up. Like, for example, like a Bauer song. That's basically like Margaret's like, oh shit, everyone's gonna realize I'm pregnant, so I better get the fuck out of town. But it's done so cool, and it's just like, you know, like we said, it's like a good piece of prog rock. It's like a Pink Floyd style intro, so they really work it all together. Like, even the songs like in other albums would be kind of fillery and exposition. So that's definitely a plus of the album.
Yeah.
I think Quadrophenia by The Who is a much better example of a rock opera by them, but I digress. We'll definitely get to that at some point. But, so, okay, moving on to kind of a musical interlude, The Queen's Approach. Unbeknownst to our lovers, William's adoptive mother, the Queen, approaches our lovers in great haste, part ways once again. Ah, God. Update, I've been rethinking this. It makes more sense that the Queen catches William and Margaret. As a result, she forbids William for going out at night. That's why they spent nights together, but he must beg his mother to let him out, and the one he comes away is repaid. What do you think? Does that make more sense?
What?
The Queen catching him in an act, and then from that point forward, forbidding William to see Margaret.
That would make more sense. If
leading to one he comes in waves.
Rather than just saying, fuck it, you're not going out anymore.
Right. Alright,
I wish my guitar was downstairs.
See how beautiful of a transition that is?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I love to... What?
If my guitar wasn't upstairs and broken, I would join you and embarrass myself further.
Oh, God. I love the transition into Isn't It a Lovely Night? It's just beautiful. This has always been one of my favorite songs. It's kind of like the equivalent to a Disney love song. You know what I mean? Like something like A Whole New World or something like that. Um, it's interesting though, the context of it. So, well, let me read the thingy majiggy. Let's see. I like to believe that our lovers sing this song well together, but it makes more sense to me that Margaret soliloquies from her perch in the forest while William sings from afar. I kind of agree. That does make more sense. Um, Margaret remains perhaps in the bed of flowers and clovers referenced earlier that she and William had shared. She cherishes her baby-to-be, the child of William. William, retreating to his forest dwelling, smiles giddily, remembering how the breeze bent the leaves, which tickled him as he made love to Margaret in the bush.
Ah.
I know, lovely.
Oh, guys, there's an
As,
update. There's an update.
what?
This update is pointed out in the comments below. Little death is the Middle English slang for orgasm.
Oh, yes.
Make of that what you will. So.
Okay, so basically this song is just basically like Margaret. Actually, I kind of disagree with the fact that she's singing to an unborn child. I think at this point the baby's already been born. That's just my personal opinion. That's how I've always felt it. I always like to think of it as like the baby's first lullaby.
Was the baby present when they were together? Again?
Well, I don't know. I don't think the baby was present when they were together. I think, for example, I don't think they were like fucking right in front of the baby, if that's what you mean.
Just sitting there not knowing what the fuck's going on. Well, I mean, they couldn't really, like, leave the baby with his grandmother.
Right.
She's living in the woods. Unless she was Pocahontas.
But I digress. A thing about the song that is funny is that basically it's beautiful, but Margaret is basically like, and here is where your parents fucked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god. Oh yes. Yes, it's basically like, yes, this is where you were conceived, child. Oh no. But any thoughts about the song itself? It's definitely kind of stylistically the most Decemberist-esque out of any of the other songs on this album. So that kind of gives you a sense of what other Decemberist songs are kind of like. Very much the guitar work in this song is very, like a lot of other Decemberist songs are kind of twangy, like the guitar on this. I like the accordion, definitely. A lot of other Decemberist songs use accordion. So yeah, very much a Decemberist style song. So what do you think of it?
No, it's good. Like I've said, like all the songs on the album are good.
Yeah, well, goddamn it, start forming some opinions individually.
I try, but I'm not very opinionated.
Well, that's a problem because I'm incredibly opinionated.
God damn it, I try.
Darn the luck.
God damn it.
All right, so here we get to the big show-stopping musical number in this. The one that comes in waves. Repaid. Now the story gets interesting. The Queen's adoptive mother finds William, and she knows that he's been out sleeping with a woman. In anger, he tells her that he heard her coming. Her approach was betrayed by the weight of her footsteps, much like the black smoke covering a coffin precedes a funeral. I love that imagery, by the way. He tells her that he wants this night to do as he pleases, for the need to be with her is strong, and although he can suppress it from time to time, sometimes he cannot, hence the wanting comes in waves. She responds, "Hold on. I saved you from the river. I cradled you. I raised you. I protected you. You belong to me, and now you want the night. The only time you're a man to spend with other women. This is how you repay me for the years I spent as your mother." He bargains with her. He makes a foolish, penny-wise offer. "Let me free for this one night, and I will return by dawn, and be yours forever." But of course, we already know he's planning to run off with Margaret. After all, he'd wager all. The mother thinks this over and carefully responds, "Okay, you can have tonight. Total freedom. But there's a catch. As you promised, come morning, you belong to me for all future nights. You just cashed in your one favor, my boy. From here on out, we're square." Okay, so definitely the female vocalist who does the voice of the Queen. Holy shit, amazing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like probably one of the standouts of the album.
yeah,
She's only on 2 songs, but she makes an incredible impression. Uh, like here's how I take the character of the Queen. I just think she's just this sort of like omnipresent force that just sort of moves throughout the forest. I don't really even think she has any sort of defined shape. I almost kind of take her like a kind of like an evil version of the sprite fairy from the Firebird. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Where it's like just sort of like just all the spirit of the forest except fucking evil. um, very much. I don't need like. I definitely think this album is meant to be taken literally, as in like it's taken to be like fantastical and whatnot. But
Yeah.
some have said it's an allegory for just overbearing parents, and I definitely see that. I definitely think that's kind of one of the things they were going for
Hmm.
with this character, and I think that's really interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, come on, give me some thoughts because this song is seriously like amazing, and it's split into multiple parts. It's got roaring guitar. It's got incredible vocals. Come on, give me something.
No, yeah, it really is. Like, what I really remember from the song is the harpsichord. Because
Mhm.
harpsichord is a wonderful instrument that is underutilized in today because it is kind of there's really no need for it today. But but yeah,
Yeah,
like
so, like
it's
right
yeah.
from the beginning, yeah.
What?
Right from the beginning, you get that harpsichord, and it's a
Yeah,
great way to set the mood, and just kind of builds from there.
it really does. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, all right, all right. Okay, let's see anything else. Now I'm gonna talk about my ideas for a movie version of this, but let me just say, I think a perfect money shot in the trailer would be just William at the top of his lungs, just shouting to the sea, "I want this night!"
Hmm.
Like right at the end of the trailer. I
Yeah.
want this night, and then like the camera like pans like way out, like kind of like a Quasimodo from Out There.
Hmm.
Like just like, and I want this night. I thought way too much about what a Hazards of Love movie would be like.
Hmm.
But okay, let's get to the second act. So we have an interlude. Relax and enjoy, friends. We've now the backstory. Here's where the adventure begins. Okay, so really quick, what do you think about this interlude?
I need to give me a second. I need to listen to it again. I only listened to it twice. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, like it's
Very
really
pretty.
nice. What?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
very pretty.
it is.
Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this out.
Kind of reminds me of my Blue Sky.
Yeah, it
Very,
does. You're
very
right.
exactly. Yeah.
Right, you done?
What?
Are you done?
Yeah, it's a really nice song, and like
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely get the goodbye blue sky comparison for sure.
Mm,
Um, yeah, just a really nice, again, kind of like more traditional Decemberist, at least in terms of the instrumentation.
mm.
So yeah, all right, moving on to oh boy. Okay, so where the fun begins.
Yeah,
Oh god, oh god. All right, the Rake song.
the Rake.
Oh, this is a terrific villain. Oh, God. Enter the Rake. The Rake is a vile man. Married young, the first 9 or so months of marriage was great. He got lots of sex from his wife. Of course, there was one unintended consequence. She started having babies. However, when delivering her fourth child, she and the baby died, leaving the Rake with 3 kids and no chance to have the amount of sex he was craving. So he sets about to change his life. He poisons Charlotte by feeding her bad flowers. He drowns poor Dawn in the bathtub. And while his son Isaiah struggles admirably, nonetheless, he kills them. He kills him. In response to the fighting, he burns his body. Though we might think he'd be bothered by all this, he assures us it's never really bothered him. Okay, so yeah, this is easily, like, one of the Decemberists' darkest songs. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's like, it's murdering children,
Yeah.
the song.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and it's now one of their staples to do live, and that's just unbelievable. I think it was one of the first singles off this album besides Wanting Comes in Waves. And yeah, okay, so I mentioned this earlier, but do you agree with me that this has a very kind of Nirvana, Kurt Cobain vibe to it?
No.
No, you don't?
Nirvana has a really specific style.
Well, to me, it's like right down from the guitar to the, I mean, the thing that really sells me on the Nirvana influence is the whole, all right, all right, all right.
I mean, it's grungy, yes, but Nirvana, no.
Grungy.
Nirvana, no.
Okay, well, you're probably perhaps a bigger Nirvana fan than me. I mean, I've listened to my fair share of them, but I'm not like a big expert on them or anything. So
neither am I. So I mean, like, it's all subjective, really.
But you at least agree that it's got kind of a grungy sound, especially in the like really heavy guitar at the beginning.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
like
grungy,
really
but I wouldn't
guitar.
say Nirvana. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Like, me and my sister would always make fun of the song. Well, we wouldn't make fun of it because we love it, but every time the vocals would come up, we'd always exaggerate the all right part. It'd sound as much like Kurt Cobain as we could. Just, all right! All right! Oh, God. Okay, so, yeah. Just beautifully twisted. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So, next song. The Abduction of Margaret. This song is it's pretty much like the mirror image of a Bauer song in terms of style and the fact that it's pretty much an exposition song and structure and everything. But the Rake hides in the bushes, the very same bushes in which William and Margaret enjoyed their first encounter together. Those bushes get a lot of action in this album.
It seems.
Evan Dallas has added Google effects.
Oh, I was trying to make black and white. It wasn't working.
Oh, dear.
Who is Evan Dallas? I don't know who Evan Dallas is. I don't know how to do it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I didn't know a notification would come up. I thought you just anonymously try to go black and white.
I literally thought that Monkey had just popped in because I did send Monkey an invite to this. Mostly just because I wanted to see his reaction to the Rake song.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, so the Abduction of Margaret. The Rake hides in the bushes, very same bushes. As Margaret passes, the Rake grabs her, binds her hands, throws her over her shoulder, and then across his horse. Brilliant.
I found sounds.
Yeah.
Hooray for me! Do you not like that?
This is literally like one paragraph, and I'm struggling to get through it.
I'm so sorry.
Then he comes to Anne and Water, the uncrossable wild river, the very river from which the Queen once rescued baby William. Okay, so just really quick, like I said, I don't think there's much more to say. It's kind of a mirror image of the second song on the first side of the album, and it's nice and exposition-y and kind of creepy.
Yeah.
That's literally the only word you have to say about it is yeah.
Well, I mean, really, like, you're correct. It's very creepy. It's not a huge song in the rest of the album. So, yeah.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
From now on, each time you say the word yeah, you have to say it like Little John.
No.
Then don't say the word yeah.
Okay.
That's your challenge.
Okay.
And every time you say it, I will make you say it like Little John.
I can. Challenge accepted.
All right. Here we go. Putting your podcasting skills to the test.
Yes.
All right. So here we come to another one of my favorites, The Queen's Rebuke, The Crossing. Here we learn the backstory to which I referred above. The Queen, she of the very fabric of the forest, found William in a clay cradle. She took the poor baby and gave him the form of a fawn by day. So, she says to the Rake, since you have kidnapped Margaret, the only thing that has ever tempted my poor boy to defy me, I will fly you over the uncrossable Annan water, so that William will be unable to chase you. In exchange, you may keep young Margaret to do as you will, including raping and killing her, if you desire. So me and my sister had one non-verbal gesture for this song that we'd always point to, and that would just be like... Because it's basically just like, oh, okay, well, hey, this is convenient. But in all seriousness, this song is fucking amazing.
It
like,
is.
Don't you agree? Like, just, oh my god, the guitar work.
Like,
quite. Holy shit, there is some amazing guitar solos on this song.
There's.
Oh my god. Like, easily the heaviest the Decemberists have ever gotten.
It is really heavy.
Oh man. Oh, I mean, it is not a good representation of what the Decemberists usually sound like. I mean, aside from the fact that there's a guest vocalist throughout the whole song who's just amazing, by the way. Oh my god. Oh. And the part where it goes like da 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 da. Oh, it gets me so jacked. Oh god. Oh, freaking great song. Just overall, like, I used to like the first half more, but now I kind of like the second half more because the second half is just where all the heavy shit starts to come in.
It's a lot more exciting.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, that's the word.
Because basically the first half is all just exposition and backstory, so...
It's a lot more peaceful, for lack of a better term.
Sure, absolutely.
The second half, yeah.
The second half is basically like one big like action climax. Okay, so speaking of action climax, we have Annan Water. Oh my god, the song is also amazing. Meanwhile, William discovers that Margaret is nowhere to be found. Upon tracking her trail, soon learns that she has been abducted. He begins his quest to rescue her, but soon finds himself at the bank of Annan Water, the uncrossable river. The river is far too wild and untamed to be crossed without a suitable bow of some sort, a device which he neither has nor has the time to make. His horse would never make it across, and his mother has warned him many times that attempting to cross on a horse would certainly end in his death. But William is close, and he can hear poor Margaret's screams. He is due to return to his mother for eternity, and Margaret is captured by the Rake. Desperate, he beckons the river. Please, river, let me cross, as I cannot grow wings and fly across. Calm your waters and let me save my love. If you do this, I will return, and if you desire, you can have my body then. I will willingly submit myself to you. Just please, let me pass to rescue my Margaret. Okay, so again, this song just totally kicks ass. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it. It's really kind of the emotional or at least kind of the climactic center point of the whole album. You know what I mean? It's really just the height of the action.
Yeah, because it's weird though, because like musically it's kind of mellow, just with like the strumming guitars.
Well, yeah, it is just a strumming acoustic guitar, but it's just like it's really intense though.
Oh no, it is.
It's really driving. And of course the emotion that Colin Meloy delivers, it's just like, and it's interesting because the last few songs that we've had a musical interlude, and then we had Colin Meloy playing the Rake, and it's interesting that Colin Meloy plays both the Rake and William, and they're two just totally obviously different characters, and he really doesn't even have to change that much with his voice. And so I think it's awesome. Like, it's like, in the second half, the main character really doesn't come in until almost halfway through the second half. But when he does, it's just so triumphant, and it's just like, yeah! You know, like, go freaking rescue her, you know? Get that Rake. Oh, God, it's very emotional.
Yeah. No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
Well, I mean, I didn't really have anything else to add. Like,
do it.
I actually, I actually had it in
Do it. Do
It's
it.
too late. It's 1:46. I'm gonna wake up people in my house.
Do it quietly.
I actually added things.
Come on,
though.
do it like a yeah.
I can't. I don't wake people up. I don't want to do that. It's my concern. I'm sorry.
All right, fine. Fair enough. Okay, I pressed that issue way too long. Move on. Okay. Margaret in captivity, I mean. The Rake, in one of the more particularly creepy moments of the tale, paces around the bound Margaret in a small, abandoned forest castle, leans in and tells her pointedly, "My swan, do not struggle, as you will only cause yourself rope burns or break your precious wrists and fingers." But she calls for William. "Don't bother getting your hopes up," the Rake continues. "No one will hear you, and no one will find you. At least not before I've raped and kills you." But she calls for William. Okay, short song, but really disturbing. Probably the most disturbing moment in the whole album, I'd say.
You know what's even more disturbing?
What?
The guitar reminds me of Dead or Alive.
Oh, God.
I hate Bon Jovi with a passion. He is not a musician. He's just a man. But the organ's nice, even though it's...
Does that imply that real musicians are beyond men?
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I just, just the imagery of this song is just incredibly unnerving. Because it's very spelled out. It's like, okay, he's got Margaret, he's gonna rape her. Yeah, this is some bad shit going down, and William needs to get here. I love how the whole "Oh my oh true love" comes back into the play. Kind of a callback from I believe "The Wanting Comes in Waves." Or The Wanting Comes in Waves. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, so, yeah, not much to say about that. Then we get to The Hazards of Love 3, Revenge. The song begins with the theme from The Wanting Comes in Waves, in which, by now, we know is William's theme. William comes for his Margaret, but is he in time? But wait, what is that sound? It's the ghost of Charlotte, come to warn her father that his children have returned. She rises, enter dawn, chastising Papa for keeping the water running. But fear not, she breathes again, and Isaiah, the struggling son, has returned as well. In fact, the Rake is driven mad by the return of his vengeful children. The children have saved Margaret temporarily, but for how long? Okay, so this is also another very Pink Floyd-esque number in which we get a kids' chorus. Yeah!
I really like how the characters have distinctive themes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Distinct themes.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with like Williams, like it starts out with the guitar and the harpsichord,
Mhm.
and then the organ, and just like builds from there, and it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the whole thing like very theatrical. It almost
Yeah, it
kind of makes the
does.
whole thing like feel like, again. I mean, I can't kind of redundant to say, but it makes the whole thing feel very operatic.
Yeah, I mean, to continue my comparison of these songs with other songs,
Oh
it's
God.
very Phantom of the Opera-esque.
Oh yeah, that I'll definitely agree with you on.
Yeah,
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's
this
mainly
whole
because of the organ.
climax for sure.
But
Right,
yeah,
right.
actually, no, not
Another
even. I think because of the eighth notes too. But yeah,
sure, yeah.
I digress.
Another interesting thing to note about this song, I don't think the guy really ever mentions it in the article, but I am pretty much convinced that William is the resurrected form of Isaiah.
Hmm.
Because think about it, William was found in a cradle of clay, and the queen rescued him from certain death,
Mm-hmm.
and the rake burned William and sent William off to sea.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, it depends on how long this happened.
Well, I always take it like, I don't know, it's like, for all we know, there's a lot of factors involved. For all we know, it's like William could age faster than humans do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose.
Um, if you're thinking like the rake is probably, I don't know. I mean, I get the sense that the rake song happened like it's in his past. You know what I mean? Like it's so
Yeah,
far in his past that he's just like completely nonchalant about the whole thing.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So I think the time gap could work. Um, I don't know. Let's see what else. But yeah, I don't know. I also just see this moment as like William busts in to save Margaret. Um, the rake takes one look at William,
Mm.
and all these memories of his kids come flashing back, and that's what the ghosts are.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's my whole theory. I'm surprised that the guy in this article never mentions it because it's a pretty popular theory, actually.
Mm.
But yeah, I think all the pieces fit for it. I think it's a pretty and it's kind of like the whole album is kind of has this weird sort of subtext of like the dangers of really shitty parenting.
Mm.
It's like because William essentially falls in from one really shitty parent to the other.
Mm.
So I don't know, interesting. Okay, so really quick, we can kind of cover these last two songs kind of in one. The One He Comes Away is reprised. The lack of lyrics here leave much of the story up to us. So here's how I see it. As the rake is struggling with the ghosts of his late children, William triumphantly bursts into the fortress, killing the rake and saving Margaret. He pulls loose her binds, and they leave the body of the rake behind to be forgotten. The one thing I disagree with is I think the rake just kind of goes mad. I don't think he necessarily dies. I don't think that's ever implied.
Mm.
I think William and Margaret just get the fuck out of there while the rake's going crazy. I just disagree that William had time to physically kill the rake, and I don't think William necessarily would. So, all right, so then we get to the fucking tragic as all hell ending. The Hazards of Love 4, The Drowned. Oh boy. No Decemberist adventure is complete without a tragic ending. This one bothers me more than most. I wish it didn't end this way, but I think it's clear what happens. William and Margaret are now stuck on the far side of Annan Water. They attempt to cross, but the waters, obeying William's one-time wish, attempt to claim his body, as he promised. He cannot escape Annan Water like he did his mother. So, as he and Margaret struggle to stay above water, William asks Margaret to marry him, with only the waves to witness their matrimony. William's debt to the water exists, of course, only because he decided to rescue Margaret, and Margaret knows this. What is left for our star-crossed lovers? William can only be a man during the night, which is already promised to his mother, who will stop at nothing to prevent Margaret and William from being together. Margaret cannot return home with child. William cannot stay in forest, and he has crossed his mother, and she has sent the rake after Margaret. It looks like there will be no happy ending for our hero and heroine. In their last moments, they swear eternal loyalty to one another and share a final and touching kiss as the air rushes from their lungs, and then, gently and willingly, they submit to the rough waters of Annan. And with that, our poor lovers break the surface and rest, entwined at peace, undisturbed in Annan water for eternity. Alright, so what do you think of this ending the first time you heard it?
Yeah. It's definitely solemn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's not happy.
No, not at all. Not at all. You want to know the most heartbreaking thing about the song for me?
Sure.
If you listen to the vocals of the woman who's playing Margaret, she literally sings it as if she's dying. Like, William is more alive than she is. Like, she's practically whispering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just makes it all the more heartbreaking. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, just very, very melancholy way to end the album in true Decemberist fashion. I don't know, but the article, what the article points out is right. It's just one of those circumstances where it's like every possibility for a normal life is fucked. And I find it very intriguing that it goes all around back to the title of the album, The Hazards of Love, because really, The Hazards of Love, it's really kind of meant to be a reflection of, like, yeah, you can fall in love and be devoted to a person, but you can also make really fucking reckless decisions that you do just in the heat of the moment, in the passion, that can kill you.
Yeah.
And I find that to be a very fucking dark message.
Yeah. But it's not wrong.
No, it's not. No, it's, yeah. Oh, God. So yeah, Adventure Blue Dude, overall, your first impressions of the Decemberists?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really call this... I'm not sure if I'd be qualified to say that this was Decemberist, because you said that the other Decemberist albums are completely different. So...
Well, it kind of varies. I think the first two were very sea shanty-esque, and then the third one kind of is more sort of like indie pop. The fourth one, kind of a little bit more in this territory, and then the fifth, and then after that, it's more Americana. So they kind of range in style.
Okay.
So
based on this version of the Decemberists alone, it's interesting. Yeah.
What do you think of Colin Malloy's voice?
It's good. It's not really weird. No, I mean, that's not a bad... What? No, I didn't think it was that weird. But, yeah, it's good. He has a good voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. And yeah, like I said, I think this album would make a fantastic animated movie. I don't want to draw too much into it, but I can just picture all kinds of crazy shit going on with, like, especially the Queen of the Forest. The Queen of the Forest is the only reason why I want this to be animated. I mean, I'm sure they can do shit with CGI, but animation just makes it all so much more expressive. So, and I want Alfonso Cuarón to direct, and I want it to be his first animated movie.
Okay.
So there. Yeah. All right, so Adventure Blue Dude, do you want to announce what we're going to do on the next installment of 21st Century Music?
We're listening to more Wax Fang.
Yes.
And the Pink Floyd. So we're listening to... damn it. We're listening to Pink Floyd, Jesus Christ, Wax Fang's The Astronaut, which came out in January, like early mid-January of 2014. It's a wonderful album. Have you listened to it yet?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figured you have. It's
Now, interesting backstory with this album. The first episode we ever did of 21st Century Music was comparing two bands. Like, you still there?
Yeah.
Like, I think you and me can both agree that one of our favorite bands, like, between the two of us, is definitely Pink Floyd.
Oh, yes.
And so we started out this whole musical endeavor by talking about two bands that remind us of Pink Floyd. You chose Wax Fang, I chose A Flaming Lips. And so now we're going to go ahead and, since Wax Fang released an album that is just, I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but it's just dripping in Floydy goodness.
It really is. Yeah. It's definitely it's the resurrection of the concept album.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it is fucking beautiful. But soon, and also along with the Astronaut, I'm making Tiki listen to a trilogy of singles that were released in August, September of 2013, also by Wax Fang.
And I'll have more to say about them than, yeah, they were good.
Yes, he will. I mean, I focus mainly on the music, and you focus mainly on the meanings.
That's true. No, yeah. You're very true. No, that's very true. All right, but and in addition to that, since Wax Fang has come out with a 5-track album, much in the great tradition of Pink Floyd, we have decided to compare and contrast
Animals.
The Astronaut with Animals. Yes.
And when I was away for a second, that's because I was trying to see if I had a second copy of Animals. But I don't, so I can't show you. I can't show you Animals. It's upstairs in my record trove. College. I can show you The Wall, or Abbey Road.
Can you show me The Wall?
You want to see The Wall?
Yeah, sure.
Oh. Here's Pink Floyd's The Wall.
There we go. So
you open it. You see the inside Judge Arce. He's right there poking out.
So Animals is the album that preceded The Wall. So yeah, close enough.
Yes, yeah. It came right after Wish You Were Here?
Uh-huh.
Didn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's about it. We just tackled one of my favorite concept albums, and I can assure you that the next time I get around to choosing an album, I will hit AdvBlueDude with yet another concept album, because that's just my thing. But in the meantime, guys, yeah, stay classy, I guess. All right!